This podcast is rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Some material may not be suitable for children.
Mission 215.
Welcome to 1973, where our president is a lying asshole who attempted to interfere with the personal investigation being performed by a special counsel by firing the man in charge, who constantly attempts to bring down the credibility of the media, and who may or may not be hiding an incriminating tape.
Wow.
Sounds oddly familiar.
Yes.
Strange.
But it's 1973, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Me either. No idea.
Yeah. We're doing a special episode this week. John had the good idea for us to watch a movie that's not on the list, kind of surprisingly. Not to throw my review out there too soon, but it's a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm surprised
It's like
it's
a
not on
low
the
8.
list.
It's close.
We're talking about All the President's Men, which came out in 1976. It was directed by Alan Pakula. The synopsis is: the Washington Post reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein uncover the details of the Watergate scandal that leads to President Nixon's resignation. And John, since you picked, I guess first, TC, what do we do on this podcast? Typically, not so much this
Typically,
week.
we watch a movie from the IMDb Top 250 list, which is a user-based list. We started at 250 and we're headed down to 1. And we watch a movie, we talk about it. You know, that's pretty much the gist of it.
And
right?
John, why did you pick this one? A special non-250 episode.
Well, a couple reasons. One, I mentioned this when we talked about Spotlight, that I really like these kinds of journalism films, or any film really where it's not necessarily set in terms of action, but they're trying to tell a story where you already know the outcome to some extent. But it just tries to follow the process of how something evolved. So in this case, like, how did these two reporters start figuring out sort of the depth and breadth of everything that went on here? And then plus, we've got our times where the current modern day where there also is certainly a lot of investigative journalism going on. You have sort of arguably a similar situation in terms of having the press sort of against the president calling out the journalists on every little mistake they make, and the press suggesting some very bad things are going on sort of at all levels of the White House. So it's an interesting time. And it's a good time to sort of just think about Watergate and reflect on that. And then this movie just sort of puts us in that place for a bit. So that's why I picked it.
Cool. That
Good pick.
is a good reason.
Yeah.
So before we spiral into yelling things at each other, let's focus on the movie.
Are we going to yell again? Because I cried a lot after last time.
Well, my voice is still hoarse, so we're going to be yelling.
We're going to be
happening.
yelling, son of a bitch.
Oh, guys, I don't like it when we yell.
Well, that's too bad. At least you get to
I love
whisper.
it.
Whisper your review, John. You can save your pipes for later.
Okay, fine. So what are we going to do before we yell?
You're going to review it.
I am. Well,
I think you are.
Very well then.
I think.
Kind of up to
Yes.
you, actually.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. No.
What do we do on the show again?
Yeah, we watch a movie. That's what we do every week, and then we talk about it.
Yeah.
Good enough. I really like this film. Hoffman and Redford are a lot of fun to watch. There's a couple of really cool things about this film. I think that they tried to be really authentic in terms of what the newsroom setting was like, and I really enjoyed that. So they didn't get like access to the actual post office, for example, but they went in and they bought the same friggin' desks that were in there and like laid out the whole thing and took measurements. They took trash from the post and put it in there. I mean, they really tried to recreate the office, and I think that shows in a good way.
They won an Oscar for set design because of it.
Yeah, and rightfully so, I think, just because that's kind of one of the principal, if not the principal place of the movie is in this newsroom with people running around. And I was watching it too at times because you'd have all these people doing things in the background, and it was pretty cool. Like it felt like you were naturally there with all the other things that were going on, and I really liked that.
Spotlight ripped off so much, by the way.
Yeah,
They really did, didn't they?
Yeah. But what else can you do? Apparently, that's what it
it's
looks
a
like,
newsroom,
so.
though.
Right.
It is, but
right.
certainly, I think this film's kind of iconic for that. Like, if you're going to do a movie about investigative journalism, you're probably going to look to this film for inspiration, or at least, as something to sort of try to achieve, I guess.
Yeah.
Or at least as something that set the standard, arguably. So that's a really great component of it. I think you've got I think they do this in a nice, subtle way, but there's just subtle interactions between Woodward's and Bernstein's characters in terms of them kind of not being similar people.
Yeah, like at all. Right.
And it's just, but it's not like you don't get hit over the head with it. It's just some of it's really subtle. Like, like they're like sitting there talking to, they're interviewing the secretary or some girl or some guy, and the guy they were interviewing was like, "I'm a Republican." And Woodward goes, and so am I. And
so am I.
Bernstein gives him this look.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Like, really?
Yeah.
Or the scene even when like Bernstein was smoking on the couch, and he like some of his ash got on the couch, and Woodward just kind of like
he's
swept
like brush it off. Yeah.
Or like the cookie when he throws the cookie.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I don't want a cookie. Yeah.
that was the hardest I laughed all movie.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I just thought that the interaction between the two was done so well, and like Bernstein would sort of like needle him afterwards. You know, you shouldn't have said that. You see what you said there? You just shut it down. You just said that, and
they became friends too over the course of the movie.
Right. You gradually see them working together, and I just really like the subtlety of it. Like it's just really funny. There's like these nice comedic moments, but it's not like
they wrote in like a long-term character development there.
It's like it's not like development. Yeah, it's like here's Woodward, he's the straight-laced new guy, and here's Bernstein, he's the hippie who does the, it doesn't strike you that way, and I think that's also just very, very nicely handled. And it's also, so another thing that I think the movie handles well too is this idea that they're trying to get the truth, and they want to do they value the idea of the truth, but they also are just trying to be really good at their jobs. They're competitive. And they're not necessarily going to be, they're
hungry.
They don't really necessarily care about people's feelings either in their source to get the best story they can get. And I think there's some moments where you can sort of see it hit Woodward a little bit where I think like one of the people interviewing is like, well, it's not really about getting just the truth, is it? And he's like, yeah, you're kind of right. So
that was funny. I mean, that was like a nice moment of like, nah, you're right. It's not in his best interest.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like that. Or the other really funny scene was when they were all excited and they'd cornered the guy who had talked to the grand jury and figured out what had really happened, because they went down and tracked him down again after they screwed up and said that he had outed one of the main guys to the grand jury. And he'd said, well, the truth was that the grand jury hadn't asked him about it, and that they figured that out. But they were like peppering him with these questions, and he'd just had a baby, and they just mercilessly get what they want out of him. And then they're like, oh, you had a baby. Congrats. So I also thought that was remarkably well done. And then you just have a lot of great character actors in the film, like Hal Holbrook playing Deep Throat. The guy who played the editor is just really likable.
Head editor?
Yeah.
He was good, yeah. Jason Robards?
He was great. So I think just a lot of really good character actors. And then you have the context of the film itself, which is sort of interesting. Just I was trying to read a little bit about this, and the really funny thing is that it's not entirely clear to what extent, if at all, the Washington Post was responsible for Nixon resigning eventually. Really, it's that Nixon had a bunch of tapes of himself that eventually the Supreme Court said, hey, you got to hand him over. And all those tapes totally incriminated him, and he was screwed. And meanwhile, the FBI and the grand jury, this stuff was being investigated. So it's sort of arguable how much influence the Post stories actually had over this whole process, if at all.
They were the ones who kept it alive. At least that's the way the Wikipedia page reads, and that's the way the movie plays out, is that like the hard work and determination of these guys keeps like the fire lit, no matter how small it is, until.
And maybe that's the case. And it doesn't, in some ways that matters a lot. In some ways it doesn't, in terms of what this story is about. And I sort of like that as well. Like, they could have made this film just all about how great it is that these journalists did the thing they did. And instead that's like not why you watch it. Or
because it's not, you don't get a satisfying ending if that's why you're watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, really don't.
In fact, but it's becomes really more about, here's what the process was like for them, and here's how they got along, and here's what it was like being there. And all of that is really cool. I think it's just kind of amazing. Along the way, you have this context, and it makes you think about the times and wonder about the impact of journalism. And also just get to know like just how terribly corrupt this administration was. Holy cow. It's just bad.
And how didn't it seem so different, the idea of journalism, when they were using typewriters?
Yeah,
and like
that's
walking
true.
around and interviewing people and like not just calling them on a FaceTime or
right, having to look at things
like
in phone
having to do
books
things, right? Like having to travel to track people down and
not just like going to BuzzFeed. You're like relink BuzzFeed article, and you're like, duh, it's my job now.
Exactly right. It
That's
just
right.
seems like a different type of journalism for some reason now than it was then too.
But also similar in the way where they're all racing to get the story out first, which they were doing, just like
That's
it was
all
slower.
the same.
Yeah.
It was just slower paced.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you had like until midnight as opposed to like whenever the person hits publish on their website.
Right. Exactly. Which is a much slower. Yeah. There's much more time to figure out the story. I
That's
guess,
true.
instead of
Yeah.
just
It wasn't the
reporting.
24-hour news cycle, you know, or the like constant stream of information coming at
You know,
you from all
you wonder
sides.
if maybe sometimes that's why they didn't find themselves in these stupid moments like BuzzFeed just did.
Yep.
Because they like took more time to vet it and actually talk to people and then get their notes together. Whereas now they're like, we've got 2 minutes to get this out before the other place does. Fuck it, go for it.
And who
Yeah,
the hell
that's right.
who the hell listens to BuzzFeed anyway? Don't they do like top 10 lists of best like breakfast waffles or some shit like that? They do stupid things.
Probably.
I don't know what they do.
Yeah, I don't know, but a lot of other people just went with it, including a lot of Democrats and so this was BuzzFeed that reported that President Trump had directed Cohen to lie to Congress, and then the Mueller group
was like, no, that's not all the way true.
That's not accurate.
Yeah.
Or it didn't
They
necessarily
were vaguely
say that.
saying how non-accurate.
Right, they didn't say that's
it
not
was.
what happened, but they basically said, "Hey guys, be
Like,
quiet."
hey guys, so we're doing this investigation now.
yeah,
I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah, so
This doesn't help
anyway,
us. Thanks.
Yeah.
Go back to waffles.
But anyway, so that's my take on the movie. I'm glad to have watched it again. It'd been a long time since I'd seen it, and I don't think I appreciated it the way I did now in terms of just enjoying it, and in terms of more of the characters and the way it lays things out.
Like when you saw it years ago, you didn't appreciate it as much?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew much about Watergate either, but I remember seeing this movie. So like when it started, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I know this one." And then I got about 15 minutes, and I was like, "I've never seen this before."
I think that intro scene with the guys with the flashlights is just like iconic or something. Because I've seen that too. I've never seen this movie, but I saw that and I was like, I might have seen this, but then like, I was like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a memorable scene. I like the way it's
the
really
same
well
thing.
done.
Yeah, maybe they show you it in like class or something. Like, hey, here's 5 minutes of a movie. And then
Hey,
shut it off.
you want to do a scene where some people are robbing a place and some other people are going to go stop the people from robbing the place? Here's what you do.
Are they robbing it?
Yeah.
I thought they were like planting things.
Oh, they're burglarizing. Well, yeah, they were planting. This was
maybe.
Well, they had already been there and planted some bugs, and I think one of the bugs wasn't working, so they were going back in to fix the bug.
And you need 8 guys to do that. It's an 8-guy job. One bug.
Five
Five
guys.
guys.
Right?
Five
Yeah.
guys.
5 guys, 8 guys, whatever. More than one.
Lots of people.
That guy in the Howard Johnsons did a shitty job.
Yeah, I guess in real life he was watching TV and didn't see what had happened. He was watching TV. They eventually saw the guys, but by the time he called them, then it was too late.
Was it me or in the movie? Did he say like silence is advised or something? And then they listened to him immediately, shut their radios off. And then he's like, guys, just kidding. Listen to me. There's people in there.
Yeah, but they're like, well, the radio's making a lot of noise, so we should quiet that down.
Oh, the guy's just too stupid to not realize that probably means they'll shut their radios off.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I didn't get that
it was
either.
like I thought it was like the radio was throwing a lot of static or something, and he wasn't coming in clear anyway. So like, screw this, it's just making noise.
Oh,
I don't
I can
know.
hear him pretty clearly. I don't know. They didn't get that across very well.
Well,
That was
because
the-
they didn't because they were hearing like the full
Yeah.
audio from the guy in the hotel, right?
Yeah.
One thing that did annoy me is sometimes the audio, and maybe they intentionally did this, but like the overlaid audio was sort of like not. I would have preferred it to sort of fade more in the background than it did. Like they were sitting there like shuffling paper in the library, and they do this great.
I noticed
the visual doesn't match the sound.
I liked it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
liked it, to be honest.
Oh, you like that? You
I
like that
kind
you
of
could
did,
hear
yeah,
it?
because you don't see that
Yeah.
anymore. Because people are like, I guess, better at mixing and have better ideas on how to do that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I kind of liked how.
Well, they want it to be immersive, so it feels like you're really feeling the
Even
camera
though you're
move.
panning out there, you're still getting that experience of how they're shuffling papers,
right?
and they're like emphasizing that this is their activity as they like pan out.
And what they
that's
do? They
fair.
had a camera on a rope or something because it looked like it was shaking there at the end of that shot.
They actually did. They went into like that Library of Congress and they had it on rope and it wiggled so much. That's why they had to cut it like 3 times in that shot. Because like there were parts where it would wiggle way too much. So they just cut
And you
those out.
couldn't even use it. Wow, that's a good like thing to notice there, John.
Yeah. So the reason I
Sound,
kind of liked it, I think, is because whenever that happened, it brought me out, but in a way where I appreciated the long shot they were trying to get.
Oh, that's fair.
You know what I
like
mean?
sort of emphasize the long shot in a way.
Yeah. And I didn't like, this wasn't, I definitely got into the movie and the characters, but it was kind of documentary style where knowing it was a movie didn't take me out of the movie. Because like even just starting with the actual archive footage of Nixon signing in as like was it his first term or what was that first scene? Was that like him being nominated for the party? Like he was the nominee.
Is that his second term? And then
the second term was right at the end of the movie, right?
At the end was when he was being sworn in.
Oh, the second term was the end.
The second time, right? Yeah, I don't remember what the first one was.
Yeah, but anyway, TC, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, John pretty much nailed it. Very relevant story. Very well done. Like so well done, you kind of forget that you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wasn't like being critical of the film at all. I was like just paying attention to Redford and like immersed in the story. So I wasn't like noticing specific shots or like, I mean, there just wasn't much to it other than like the dialogue. It's like so much about the dialogue and just like interactions between multiple characters. It's like every single scene, right?
Yeah, and it's nonstop dialogue,
and it's nonstop dialogue for the whole thing. So, you really can just kind of like just pay attention to the dialogue, and then everything else you can kind of ignore it.
Yeah,
it was a good one. I really did. I did think about Spotlight though.
Yep,
Todd, like you were saying. So that was funny. I was like, oh, they took a bunch from that. Even just like the way they delivered their lines in Spotlight was very similar to this.
The humor style was like character based and not overdone and things like that.
Yeah, you feel like they took it. They used this as a template for that. It does make me appreciate Spotlight less for sure.
Agreed. And I don't now looking at this one too. I like the ending of this movie was really good. I thought, and then Spotlight kind of wraps it up a little bit with a little bow. And this one doesn't. This one's just like, keeps going.
I wasn't thinking that was the end when I got to that. Yeah, when it was just reading through, I'm like, oh shit, they're getting ready. And then it was just like credits. I was like, oh, okay.
Damn, you watched a 2.5 hour long movie and you wanted
I was like,
more.
I made it through a movie. Hey!
You were just like hoping you were just going, is it over yet? Is it over yet?
Well, I was like, I did it. Like a
and
dummy.
you did watch the director's cut, right?
You fucking asshole.
For the enhanced special effects.
And I have no idea. I felt so bad about the other one. I was like, man, I guess I should probably
I
figure
felt
it
bad
out.
right afterwards. I went, I bet he feels bad. He's
like there's
looking.
no context to the text message, you know? Like, hey, you better watch the director's cut. Like, oh, okay, I will.
I'm home. I got time.
Okay, I will. Yeah, I mean, there's no other cuts of this movie, right?
I wouldn't think so.
No, not that I know of, but yeah.
My favorite shot of the movie was that one where the woman's walking out and then he grabs her by the arm and he pulls her back in.
Oh yeah.
And they follow shot the whole fucking room.
Yeah.
And the camera's dead on. I thought that was great.
I'm glad you noticed that because I was going to say, you mentioned you kind of don't need to pay attention to the camera work and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
and I
that
totally
one
agree. I didn't notice how awesome that shot was until I watched this again with a commentary on, which totally worth watching. It's Robert Redford who produced the movie as well.
Oh, nice.
But with him talking over it, I'm paying more attention to like how they're making it and stuff. And a lot of the shots are extremely long with a lot of tracking, and there must have been like just really good extra work or just really high coordination between the people in the back a lot of the time.
Right, because it seemed to fly. Yeah, it seems like a normal workspace.
Yeah, and that is amazing to think. Not just like not just having like just some people standing there stationary, but following them through the workspace like that
and going back and forth. That scene TZ was talking about, he is coming from one direction, starts going out the door, and then runs all the way back.
Yeah, or there's any number of times where it's like one's on the phone, the other has to run over to get on the other phone, and it all feels like you're in this workplace as all of that's happening. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even when they were walking like outside, it all looked natural. I don't know. It was like when Redford was falling behind Bernstein there, when they were walking into the Library of Congress or whatever, and they were like, Redford was taking his time like he would. He was in like no rush. And Bernstein's running up the stairs. Like that just showed both of their weird characters. But it was also like, I don't know, they just seemed natural. Like they were actually on their way to the library. I don't know what it was, dude. It was like, I was sitting there just being like, this is all believable. They look so natural on there. It's
There's
insane.
even one where I didn't understand where Bernstein came from. It's like when Redford's car like kind of pulls up in front of the camera, and then Bernstein is coming running from behind. It's like all wet outside.
Oh yeah,
he's like chasing him down.
Yeah, he's running down the car.
Yeah. Like I was like, where did he just come from? I don't know. I guess they're just busy.
I was assuming he was walking back to the post and then saw
right.
Oh, okay.
Redford drive away from work.
Yeah. I did like it how like there weren't rules. Like there were times they went to the house and they talked to the person and they got in the car and they talked to themselves. They're like, well, let's just go back to the house. If we have more questions, turn around.
Yeah. And they go back.
It wasn't tidy, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't feel that made it feel even more natural in a way, kind of.
And
like
there
it
were
was
so many instances where I wrote down like the scene where they go into that person's house and they're testing it and you think that they have somebody that it's going to talk, but then they realize that it's a person with a different problem with a different first name.
Right.
And just even small
the awkwardness
things
of it.
like the scene you were talking about, John, I think, or like one of the coolest shots in the movie is when he's on the phone and he's getting, like Robert Redford's getting information from somebody. I forget exactly what. There's so much information in this movie, but the left half of the screen, there's like a party going on in the back and he's on the phone and he's like trying to listen and it's zooming in on him. And it's just like every time they get louder and louder, he has to like put his hand over his ear and he's like, what? Sorry, like, can you say that again? Sort of thing. And it's like one continuous shot and it seems just real.
Did you think that he screwed up that one line when he was like, does anybody speak English? Or, I mean, does anyone speak Spanish? Was that a flub?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was good.
It might have been, but it worked great.
It worked out awesome.
He rolled with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Redford's expressions while he's going through this stuff where he's like exasperated or frustrated. I mean, he does that really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like, even when he's talking to Deep Throat the first time, you have somebody using the parking lot and just whistling.
Yeah, no, they were just good at making it seem, natural.
So yeah, that's pretty, I mean, I just kind of egged mine in there too. Yeah. This movie's freaking great, dude. Thanks for the recommendation.
I know,
Oh, sure.
for real. I can't believe it's not on the list.
I know. It's close. It has an 8.0 and you need like there are 8.0s on the list. So.
But there are 2.0s on the fucking list. So
how is this not on
I
the
don't
list?
understand. Yeah,
And
I don't
Hachi,
understand
a dog's tail, is on the list.
It's on the list.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
Yeah. The system's
That's
broken.
fucked up.
We all knew that.
It
now
is.
anyway.
That is.
It is.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's why we're going outside the system when we feel like it from now on.
Yeah.
That's right. Screw the man.
Yeah. I don't know what else to talk about this movie.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it's so well done and it's just basic dialogue. There's not much to it.
Yeah.
I don't really like.
We covered it. It's funny. It's informative. It's all apparently very real. Like all of the details in the movie are extremely real, except for when you mentioned the TV thing. That's surprising because Redford was talking about how he wanted it to be as accurate as possible.
Well, I think too it turned out later, even though were told that they should fear for their lives, that sort of seemed to be kind of not really the case, like in retrospect. But they still were sort of scared at one point. But it became sort of apparent that they weren't necessarily in danger either, but they felt that way at times. So
Yeah.
that was fair.
I'd be paranoid too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be paranoid after we post this episode. Jesus. Shit talking the president. How dare we?
That babbling idiot.
Yeah.
He can't even figure out how to get into work
He
on
doesn't know
time,
how to
let
use a
alone
podcast app.
Yeah. Let alone figure out how to find us.
I did have a couple of negatives. You guys want to hear my small negatives?
Oh,
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Bring 'em
because
out.
Yeah. Good. Because
You guys will probably agree with me, but
You've been pleasant so far.
I know.
So good.
But these are nothing. These are just like small things. I thought it was pretty slightly unbelievable how willing the secretaries for some of these guys were to give out information they didn't even Redford didn't even ask for towards the beginning of the movie.
Well, the one where she had like a whole list.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, call him
pages
here. That's where he works." Or that
Yeah.
if he does not, you're like, "Wait a minute, that's not cool. Don't do that." I don't know. Didn't seem very
Yeah.
realistic.
Yeah.
Were people more friendly back in the 70s?
I don't know.
Because like the two dudes went up to that woman's house. It was nighttime when they knocked on the door.
Oh, and just like invite, come on in.
Yeah.
The one who like they went back to and she was
where
crying the second time.
Yeah, right. Like, why
Yeah.
don't you shut the door and not even talk to them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's where I live. Maybe it's the times we live in. Maybe I'm just paranoid, but it seems like that wouldn't happen in cities.
Like,
at
people,
least.
even like anybody coming to your door saying that they're reporters and be like,
I'd be like,
come back in the
no.
daytime.
Yeah. Come back some other
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'll call you.
There's like nothing negative.
I mean, it's
Wow.
true. It's a damn good movie.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. I'm really glad. I was sort of wondering. I didn't know exactly what you guys would think when I selected it because I didn't quite remember myself if it was good. I just thought I
Relevant.
know I like these journalism movies, so
I didn't like the 70s pants.
No.
I love the get up of the
bunk.
undercover cops. So, or they're like supposedly the guys that were called in to the Watergate break-in. They were supposed to They just kind of like would prowl the streets and sort of look for drug deals and things like that. So they would dress
In
like
their
hippies or
fishing
whatever.
outfit?
Yeah.
Weird.
They had like the bait and tackle hats with the hooks hanging off the sides.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Was that what it was? Because it sounded like they were off duty going like on a fishing trip. That's what I thought was going on. I thought they were going on a fishing trip.
Oh yeah, no, they were supposed. I mean, at least in real life, what they were is they were called, I think, the Bum Squad or something like that. So they were just out, just basically, they dressed in civilian clothes, trying to look like they fit
There's
in.
4 middle-aged fat white dudes wanting drugs. No, nothing suspicious about that.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
Totally do it. You won't get arrested.
Sure.
Sorry, John.
No, that's fine.
Did you know that guy that plays the security guard that finds them was the actual security guard that found the intruders in Watergate?
Oh no way!
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
That's cool, but it's sad because that guy got fired without reason 3 days after he made that call,
Oh really?
and he didn't work again. He never had a full-time job again, and he didn't work for 3 years in between the instance of that happening and when this movie was being made.
Damn.
Yeah, so he was a part of the, I would assume, part of the cover-up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
which
Wow.
sucks. I do have some trivia, although most of it, Mr. Redford wasn't like a trivia-heavy guy, I would say.
Uh-huh.
It was really interesting listening to him talk the entire time, though. He seems like an extremely nice dude. He's like one of the nicest guys I've listened to on a commentary track so far. He just compliments everybody else. He never talks about what he gives you information on what he does, but he never makes it sound like he's awesome or anything like that. Like it's never patting himself on the back, which is extremely rare. Because if you have
Yeah,
someone
it
coming
is.
on commentary tracks to talk about themselves in a movie that they started and produced, then you're usually going to get a little bit of ego in there. But I don't know.
Right.
He's just, yeah. He's still acting, surprisingly.
Yeah, he did a couple of things. I haven't seen it, but he did like a one man on a boat show.
I saw that one. Yeah,
Did he?
it was good.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to get
What's it
into.
called?
It took me 3 times to watch it, but it was worth it.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He's in a
It's one man on a
upcoming
boat.
movie, I think. There's a movie coming up with him soon too.
Ooh. What about
Hey,
Hoffman?
still going strong, huh?
Is Hoffman doing
Yeah.
stuff?
I don't know.
Oh, he was in Kung Fu Panda. You know, he's Shifu in Kung Fu Panda.
Are you familiar
So
with
he's
those
got-
ones?
he's
Your
get- I love Kung Fu Panda.
dad? Nice.
Nice.
No, the Medici TV series he's in. Interestingly enough,
Yeah.
I don't know what
he got-
TV series that's
He's
on.
got some bad publicity right now, right?
Oh, really? Oh, is he
Yeah.
part of the sex scandal stuff
Uh-huh.
or the aggressiveness kind
Hoffman?
of thing?
Yeah.
Fuck. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, accused of exposing himself to a minor. God damn it.
Yeah.
And sexual misconduct over the
Assaulting
years.
2 women. Oi.
Well, you
Jesus
remember when he
Christ.
grabbed her arm in the fucking shot? You could tell.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
He's done that
right?
before. He did it like a
He's
pro.
been doing that in regular life. Yeah, that's just what he does. Come
I don't
here,
know though.
you.
This movie's old. We've like the old movies. They really
Yeah.
manhandle. Like I mean,
Oh
manhandle.
no, we've
is-
seen some bad things.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we've seen some bad
I mean,
things.
Slap- go
We'll
outside
just-
if you wanna
some
slap
crap
your wife.
here.
We'll just end it with that.
Yeah.
What was the movie where he where he grabbed the woman and took her, like they were in a bank and they're like, hey, you do that at home.
No, he was like
not
hitting her
here."
in the face, and he's like, "Go outside if you want to do that."
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell was
movie
that?
One
It was Strangers in the Train, maybe.
Maybe that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't beat your wife. You don't beat your wife in public. You go and beat your wife out at home, man.
Oh, jeez. So fucked up.
I mean, things are not great now, but at least they're better than that.
Yeah.
So good for
Yeah,
us.
supposedly.
True.
So I don't think I have anything else in terms of the movie. Either of you know about telephones?
I
If you had a rotary telephone and you unscrewed the
Do
bottom
you just
part,
unscrew it? That's the mic
That-
and it
that
comes right
works?
off? I don't think that works. I
what
think
happens
that's
if you
just a
stick your
cover.
tongue in it after you unscrew it? What happens then?
Well, not only that, but there has to be some sort of wire somewhere. So
You'd
what's
think
he
so.
unscrewing? Right?
What if it's like a
He's-
battery though? What if it's like just the connection where
a battery? What phone have you ever had that had a battery in it?
I just mean like
Unless it was
the electrical
cordless.
connection could be like a battery where it's 2, pieces of metal.
Oh, you
that
think
touch
where
as
like
opposed to
you'd
wires.
unscrew it and that'd be it?
Like it would
I
just
don't
come
know.
apart. I don't know either.
That doesn't seem right.
They did it in the movie. It's got to be true.
Yeah, I don't know. I found that to be weird. I was like, I don't know if that was a thing
And even if there wasn't a microphone, you'd still be able to hear the click of the receiver coming
of
up.
the receiver coming in. Yeah.
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 Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Definitely.
So yeah, do you guys want to hear some trivia? I got a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got?
So the idea was with the intro. I don't know how long your guys lasted. I watched this on Amazon Prime. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you guys watched it?
Yeah.
And where
that's
did
I
you get the
watched it.
commentary?
I bought
Was that
the
on-
Blu-ray as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did this impromptu, and I ordered it today, and I watched the full one on Amazon, and then the next day I watched the commentary on that.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so the intro lasts is a bit of a long intro with nothing. It's just like a white screen, but it's a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
It's
a little strange.
Yeah, it's a little strange, but the idea there was they knew they had a potentially boring movie on their hands just because of the general idea of it being about typewriters and reporting and stuff like that. So they really wanted to like kick it into high gear from the very beginning. And they wanted to startle people.
Maybe bore you right at first, so there's a real strong contrast there. So let's show them nothing for 5 minutes.
But then what happens? Extremely loud typing sounds with very big letters.
Right.
And the sounds from that were a combination of gunshots and whips.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
The idea was, and they actually sent a letter to all the theater owners, and Redford was like, looking back on it, was stupid because theater owners aren't exactly the most professional people. He had directions to let it play, like with the curtain open. For 17 seconds, there was a beginning. He wanted them to open the curtain before pressing play, which none of them did because they kind of pressed play and then opened the curtain, I guess was the deal. But he wanted people to think that it was broken and then like startle people.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and then apparently the ones that listened to him, it did startle people and people liked it. So
yeah, I even thought it was, it was sort of, at first you watch it and you're like, what's going on here? Long enough to where it then is startling when that comes on.
Yeah. It's supposed to be 17 seconds. I don't think it lasted quite that long, but I have no idea how long 17 seconds is.
1, 2,
Let us find out.
3, 4.
They shot it in as many actual locations as possible, which means everywhere except for the places they weren't allowed into. A lot of the courtrooms, the Library of Congress, the sides of the streets. You could obviously see the Watergate Hotel. All those places are real, and they shot there, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Can you think of the longest shot in the movie? Would you know what shot that would be?
Not
sure. I thought the paper rustling one was pretty long.
Paper rustling.
When they're zooming out in the library.
Oh, yeah. Not that one. It was the one I mentioned earlier where Redford was on the phone, multiple phone calls, getting conversations. And there were people in the background, like having the thing and like some kind of party or something, and he has to keep preventing himself from overhearing it or whatever. The way they shot that is if you look at it, it's kind of cool. There's a pillar right in the center of the screen. Redford's on the right. The group of people in the background are on the left. And they used a special kind of lens where it's kind of like a bifocal, but tilted on its side. So like the left part of the lens sees deep focus and the right part sees Redford in the foreground. And he had to be directed to keep his arms within the half of the screen. And if you notice in that shot too, the camera is panning in, and they had to pan in exactly where the pillar was because it was an actual physical lens. And if they moved it like left or right during this 6-minute long take, then you would notice some blurriness where the focal point is over. You know what I mean? Kind of hard to describe.
Kinda.
But pretty much so. If you look in the background over
he just had to be
Redford's
really
shoulder,
careful where he was placed, or because it would then screw up the whole shot.
this might make the most sense. If you look in the background on the left side of the pillar, they're in focus. If you look over Redford's shoulder to the right of the pillar, it's all blurry and it's the same distance.
So if he's just out of line, he's not going to be clear.
Yeah.
Got it.
So yeah, that was one take, the slow pan in, all Redford acting. He actually fucks up a name. I didn't notice it, because there's so many names in this movie, I didn't even try to follow them. But he says the wrong name towards the end, but they just used it anyway, the take, because it was like the best one.
Wow.
So impressive.
Pretty cool.
They were doing some pretty crazy stuff in this movie, even though it seems like just dialogue.
Right. It's pretty cool.
Redford was planning this movie while all of this was going down.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
He's like
interesting.
just watching it and planning it. Well, just like, I'm sure that's happening today.
Probably. There's probably a shit ton of people writing
Someone's
scripts right now.
for this. Yeah, definitely.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Especially if it goes the way I'd like it to.
Yeah, fingers crossed. They had so much, they improv'd a lot, and they had so much footage. They had 6 editors to help out because they were
Holy cow.
getting crunched for time, and they still didn't meet the deadlines they promised because they were having such a hard time cutting it down.
Damn.
I think all the scenes they mentioned where I thought the acting seemed extremely natural, Redford was like, we improv some of this. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Like the cookie scene, that entire thing was improv'd.
I don't think I've seen anything like that. It was just so natural and yet disagreeable, but friendly. I mean,
I know, right?
I mean, it's like,
Calm down, man. You're acting crazy. Oh, you'd be crazy too if you were operating on 20 cups of coffee.
Yeah. He's going nuts. Calm down. Yeah. Yeah, they're 2 totally different people. They like respect each other enough to not get on each other's nerves by being an asshole.
Yeah. There was also one thing he mentioned that had to do with the way they lit everything. And I didn't notice it watching the movie, but if you look, the office itself is the only brightly lit area. And that's done that way to represent that there's like no secrets in the newsroom. Nothing can hide sort of thing. That's where all the information comes to light. And all of the other scenes are varying levels of dark. And like, for example, the Deep Throat scene, or all those scenes, Deep Throat gets more and more lit as the movie goes on. Like you can see more and more of his face in every scene as the movie progresses.
Damn, imagine tracking that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that where you don't necessarily notice it, but it doesn't like distract you, but it adds to like what it's kind of doing, but in a really subtle way. I love it when movies do that as opposed to like, notice how this thing over here is doing nothing to help the plot of the movie.
Right.
This movie is like all about subtlety, it seems. Like whether it was the way that the relationships and everything, like I didn't know anything about like that, but I'm sure it still has a bit of a subtle impact, you know?
Yeah.
In terms of,
because you're looking at it, you're just not, just because you're not thinking about it doesn't mean it's not affecting the way you're perceiving it, I guess. Did you notice all the streets were wet all the time whenever they're outside?
Yeah.
That was practical. If you're shooting outside at night, and I mean, just generally, if you're doing that, you need to light the street so you can see it. Unless you wet everything down, then one street lamp will just spray light everywhere.
Spray everywhere, right. That makes sense.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they just hose down the streets?
Hose down the streets.
Wow.
So it wasn't just like raining. They just had hoses, I guess.
And like no one noticed. I didn't notice that it was like.
Yeah.
It made it seem more real. It's like, oh, it just drizzled. All right. Just like in real life, it drizzles sometimes.
Yeah, interesting. That's a cool way to do it.
Do you know what the budget was for this? It wasn't too.
I do not.
I don't either.
Well, let's guess. All right, so it's got Redford at the height of his powers. It's got Hoffman near the height of his powers. A director I've never heard of. They spent $500 on all those desks, which is a lot.
Right.
So they must have had like a good production.
So 79
budget.
though. What are we thinking? Like, are we thinking 10 million?
Yeah, I was I'd say 15 million. I'll go 15.
10 to 15.
You go to 50? 15?
15. Yeah.
TC?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was saying. 10 to 15.
You thinking 15?
Yeah.
15.
I win. 8.5.
Nice. That's pretty good.
Cheap movie.
Yeah.
With those guys. Do you think he paid himself less because he produced it or what?
It made
Probably.
70 million.
Do you pay yourself if you're producing it? That seems kind of like it wouldn't be worth it.
Well,
I don't know.
Point.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Hey, me. Thanks for the money.
I don't know.
Me.
I think that
Good job, me.
Yeah, but don't forget, if you're
How about
producing
if I
it,
get
your money's
like
not coming from you,
Yeah.
right?
Can
The
I get a
budget's coming from
percentage of the? I want a percentage of the box office.
No,
You
it
drive
isn't.
a hard bargain, me.
Wouldn't it be better if you even had a production company to not pay yourself because you'd have to like transfer the money? Would you rather just keep the
what
money
I'm
and not
saying
get
is,
taxed on
I
it?
think within the budget that him and other people come up with, there is payment for him as an actor because it's a separate entity. He is the producer, but he's also the actor. I would imagine he gets paid because he also has to get paid for residuals and stuff after that. So
Can't you get
have to
paid
be
residuals for
something.
being a producer as well?
I would think you probably do. You get an actor one and a producer one. You probably make money hand over fist.
You're Redford. You're doing
Yeah.
making money.
Honestly, I don't know. But like, I'm talking out of my ass. But I don't know. I can't imagine that he would, just because you're the producer doesn't mean you don't get paid while you're acting.
Yeah.
Because even when you're a
get
producer,
double.
you're coming up with funds through some other entity.
Right. You just
It's
get
not
money.
your
You
own
get
money.
money on the return. You're like investing in the film, right?
Yeah, you
Isn't that
get
what that
people
means?
you get people together and money gets invested by whether it's a studio or some other, third party or just a group of people. But I would imagine then that's, I don't know. I got to have to look that up. I'm curious now.
That is interesting. It made so.
I'm
I
curious
don't know if
too.
you guys heard, but it made 70 million, so it did good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was the 4th highest grossing movie of the year.
Talk about an ROI.
Did better than The Omen. You know what other movies were nominated for Best Picture this year?
No,
Three of the ones on the list. We've only not watched one of them. Network was this year. Rocky was this year, and Taxi Driver was this year.
Wow.
So tough year.
Yeah, did Taxi Driver win? I guess
Rocky won.
Rocky. Oh, right. Rocky won.
Yeah.
You're probably right, though. They probably just put the fucking payment stuff on the back end. Like, if film does X for money,
right.
I get this.
Or
defer
producing
payment
and
for now.
acting or whatever.
Right. Exactly. Right.
I don't
That
know.
would make more sense. Because, I mean, shit, you're waiting for the money on the other side.
Unless there's like weird tax things where it's like if you make over a certain amount of money as a producer, you pay more in taxes, so you want to keep it under that, and you
Damn, we're
can
going
kind
to
of
have to
spread
look
it
into
out.
this.
I don't know. We're just making shit up. Probably something
We are.
confusing though.
There's got to be someone I can ask.
Redford spent 4 years of his career on this movie.
Whoa.
That's a lot because he was there the entire time this came out in 76. The whole scandal kind of came to a head on 74 when Nixon resigned. And it was going on for like 2 years before that. So from like 72 to 76, when it came out, he was working on it. And he was working up like 2 years before Nixon resigned. He was following the stories. He was getting screenwriters to like write the story. He thought it was interesting. That was like the period of time where he's like, this is a story I want to tell. And he had no idea that like the rest of it was going to happen when he decided to make the movie. And all that stuff that was like typed out at the end was just like, and it became huge news afterwards. So there you go.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Redford co-directed some scenes, not by title, but by the way he described what he was doing on set.
Really?
He would come up with ideas and stuff, and they'd try him out, and they would work. And he would like, I mean, he's a pretty good actor, and I think he gave Hoffman's a pretty good actor. So I think they all kind of just like ad-libbed a bunch of stuff. Like there was a scene where the head editor was kind of walking around in a circle. It was kind of a confusing shot, and they set up this whole like ballerina thing they wanted to do. It. He said it didn't work out like they wanted, but it was his idea, and they did it, and the scene was in the movie. So if that's not co-directing, I don't know what is.
Sure, fair. I mean, yeah, it just certainly feels like there was an awful lot of craft and a lot of like maybe people putting their heads together, and that's how they came up with a lot of this stuff. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
like everybody was wanting to do like a really good job.
Yeah, usually turns out good when that happens. He didn't see the movie when it came out. He didn't see it until like 2006.
Wow.
Which is weird.
Why? Yeah. Was there a reason?
He thinks when he's like, once he's done with the edit, he gives it to the people, and it's the people's. It's no longer his.
So don't watch it.
Don't watch it, I guess. He wants to move on. He doesn't want to like dwell. He's like,
well,
all right, next project.
Let's be honest. He's already watched it, right? At least once, right? He has to.
Yeah.
You have to finish the edit. You have to finish the edit, right?
But he's not the editor, right? But he's helping.
But he must
editing.
be seeing. Yeah, he must be seeing things as they come along.
But they might not have had the score,
right?
When it
just
happened,
like bare bones stuff. I don't know, man.
There wasn't much score in this movie, though. Like none, almost.
Yeah, that seems.
I don't know.
Not true.
Yeah, I would agree that he probably saw something extremely close to the final version of this film.
Right, and then just didn't go to like a screening or like see it after that. Yeah, that makes sense because you've been working on it for fucking however long.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say at the commentary, and the last thing Robert Redford said in the commentary was he said the only thing we can look at now is can it and will it repeat itself, referring to how things are going.
Impeachment.
When did he do the commentary?
2006. So this was like Bush era.
Right, like thinking that was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, really, a lot of us did. And I looked at
how silly we were back in 2006.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. What do you guys think is going to happen?
Nothing.
I have no idea.
You're a pessimist, TC?
Yeah.
No, yeah, nothing's going to happen.
It's very difficult because so many things that seem to would have normally dragged down anybody else have not stuck to this guy. So it's
like
really,
for 30 years.
Right. I mean, you have a tape talking about how you can do whatever you want to a woman, including grab them by the pussy. That kills your entire political career. Most people, everybody, but this guy.
Anybody. That kills anyone's life.
Right.
In
Trump
that moment,
knew something nobody else
fired,
did. That this country is chock full of assholes that were hiding in the woodwork. That came out for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're all realizing now is that people actually are living still back in the Stone Age.
I mean, or there's like people are like, hey, I'm a misogynist and a racist, and I am tired of feeling bad about that.
Yep.
So,
dude, I literally just logged into Facebook and saw a friend of mine say, I'm still confused on this white privilege. Where do I pick it up? And I'm like, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
You just don't get it. He's like, I clearly didn't get mine, so someone help me understand this. And it's just like, dude, you don't get it, all right? You're missing the entire point. But that's what we're up against, right? Yeah, you realize that there are people out here in this country that are so opposite of you that there's nothing that's going to change that. Like we were on just playing PlayStation with a cop from fucking New Mexico who literally said, I love taking people to jail. It makes me feel good. And we were like, what? So you enjoy, he's like, yes, I enjoy taking people to jail. They don't deserve to be on the street. They're making mistakes. It's their fault. I'm like, well, what if you always know that everyone you've arrested is guilty? He's like, I have a 100% record. I'm not scared to talk about it. It's just like, oh, wow.
Like,
that's
the judge and jury over there?
Yeah, he's judge and jury. So you imagine just that deeply ingrained idea for him is never going to leave. He was in his 50s. Like, that's not going to change until people die. And they're not going to listen, no matter what.
Well, and unfortunately, too, we now have these systems in place where people are also being fed information.
Oh, yeah.
It sort of echoes what they want to believe or makes it really easy. I mean,
he goes, well, the Obama era made it, criminals versus the cops, everyone's coming after the cops now. And I was like, oh, Jesus, man.
Echo chambers, left and right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what, so you figure there's a bunch of that viewpoint for every kind of politics that me, you, and John don't agree with. And it's like impossible to talk to them because they're set. And now they got a president that lets them be like, fuck you, don't care.
Yeah, you pat yourself on the back for things that you normally felt ashamed about.
Yep. Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. So this is a good movie to do.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Black Klansman?
I did not watch it yet. No, he's told us to watch it like 4 times.
You guys should watch it.
Well, maybe we should do that one.
Yeah, it might win Best Picture next month.
Honestly, that's the only way I'm going to watch a movie mostly these days.
Oh. Yeah, right? As if it's forced into this podcast.
I did see Aquaman. We did a work trip to see it, which was really fun. I was entertained.
Okay.
Nice.
So what we should do, here's an idea, is we'll do at least one movie, at most 2 movies for next month. One of which being Black Klansman, either way, whether or not it wins Best Picture because it should win Best Picture, or, the other one will be we watch Black Klansman and then we watch the Best Picture winner.
That's fine. I love it.
I love how we're devolving from the list a little bit more.
Dude, we're right before one of the worst stretches in the list. I don't want to get there, man. Just fucking delay it as long as possible.
Push it off as long as we can.
Well, Black Klansman, we might have to go to the theater to see, right?
No, you can rent it.
I can't. Oh, you can rent it already?
And I bought it. You can actually buy it for $10. I recommend you buy it.
Okay.
Give those people money. Everyone who works in the movie deserves money.
Right. Agreed.
Fair enough. What do you want to do, Black Klansman next week?
We could line it up to the Oscars too, which is like in the middle of February.
Oh, yeah, we could do that instead. That might be good. And then we could get back to the list for at least one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have the bridge in the River Kwai sitting on my table for months.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Alex Guinness. Let's go take a look at that bridge.
You say Alex Guinness?
Isn't it Alec Guinness? Alec Guinness.
There you go.
Sorry.
Alex
Guinness. Yes, I beg your pardon, but you got my name wrong, you idiot.
Right. He's Obi-Wan on the horizon as a ghost next to Darth Vader and Yoda.
Yes, if you got in my name, how does he talk? He has such a great way of talking. This is not. You've gotten my name all wrong.
Is that
I can't do it.
No, that's bad, John.
It's not it at all.
That's a bad.
That's bad.
It's
John.
awful.
I was looking up history on this movie just as a side note because I have this tab up. Did you guys know that Ted Kennedy killed a person and kind of got away with it?
Oh, yeah, back in the day.
The whole Chippewa thing.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah, you didn't
I was
know
going
about
deep in Wikipedia. Dude, I don't know anything about history.
There was a recent movie on this, like a recent, I don't know if it was a documentary or like a movie about it.
That's crazy. He was driving somewhere from a party on like a tiny island next to Martha's Vineyard, drove his car off a bridge, and then abandoned the person in the passenger seat, let that person drown to death. Didn't tell anybody about it until 10 hours later the next day.
Yep.
We all make youthful mistakes. And
the article's like, it really hurt his chances becoming president. I'm like, why isn't he in fucking prison? He killed somebody.
Well,
I'm a Kennedy, so what are you going to do?
It would have been manslaughter anyway, so he probably
Hey, wait a minute. I smell a conspiracy.
Would have been manslaughter? He might have been drunk. The reason he reported it later is because he was probably drunk.
because he was hammered. Yeah,
I would
you're
assume
probably
so.
right. Yeah, no, good point.
He's a Kennedy.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. He knew what to do. They were like, look, if you get in an accident, no one sees it. Get out of there. We all know you're drunk.
You'll figure it out later, but they won't know you're drunk.
Won't be drunk.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Ugh.
We figured it out, guys. Cracking history cases.
Yep.
All right.
This has been Cold Case Files with John and Jenny and TC.
This has been called I'm Learning History for the First Time on Wikipedia podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God, huh?
Yeah.
You're learning. It's all that matters.
But should this movie be on the top 250, you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why it isn't. Really, I was surprised. When it ended, I was like, God damn, that was better than most of the movies we've watched.
I know.
100+ movies we've watched on this list.
I thought the same fucking thing. Yeah. Because I made it to 2 hours and whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's it.
You were actually entertained for once. I was getting a little worried about you, TC.
Entertaining and you learn? That's fucking impossible.
Yeah, that should be on the list.
Yeah.
Fucking goddamn list.
Goddamn list. I bet if we all created an IMDb account and then gave it a 10-star, it might become on the list because it's like right on the edge here.
Fair enough.
True.
Maybe we should try.
Let's give it a shot.
Oh no, maybe we need to start abdicating. Get some of these movies up there. Maybe we need to just stop complaining and take some action.
Yeah, we should bias for action it and fucking, put in a ticket. Hey,
everybody
guys.
listening, take, 15 seconds, go to IMDb, the IMDb page for this movie, All the President's Men, give it 10 stars.
Yeah. Let's bring it up there. Come on.
Let's get it up there because there's some other movies on there that don't need to be on there.
Yeah, and go to the Hachi page, give it a 1 star.
Yeah, here you go. Here you go. Now we're getting somewhere.
That is your
folks.
homework assignment.
Down level some of the shitty ones and give this one up there.
Yeah. Come on. Take Persona, give it a 2. That way people won't criticize you for giving it a 1.
Right, exactly.
Hide your review. Give it a 2. Hide your review. Give it a 2. Hide your review.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That should be the mantra from now on for these shitty movies.
We will give homework assignments from here on out, which ones to give 2s in between the podcast.
To bump up a bit.
Yeah. Who says we're not doing something good with this?
Yeah, exactly.
We're making changes in the world, guys. So next week, the tentative plan, and it's pretty solid, I think, is to watch The Bridge in the River Kwai. I think that's how you pronounce that. 1957, directed by David Lean. You guys had seen this, and I hadn't. Was that the
long time ago? I saw it.
Long time ago?
So
cool.
Yeah. I've saw it a long time ago too. So
won a bunch of Oscars and stuff.
Won't remember much.
That's good. It's a good way to go into it. But yeah, that's about it, I think. Unless you guys have anything else.
All right.
Fair
enough.
Hey, Timmy.
Yeah. Fuck Nixon. Fuck Trump. Fuck him.
I didn't think we'd get Timmy saying "fuck Nixon" in this podcast.
And Trump, all the same.
And Trump. Well, Trump I would have seen, but Nixon,
yeah.
who knows?
Nixon too. Fuck him.
I don't know. I could have seen Timmy voting for Trump the first time.
No way, not Timmy.
I didn't know.
Not my Timmy.
Not my Timmy. Not my Timmy. That's right.
Timmy may be a degenerate drunk, but he's not a fucking racist.
He's not a fucking idiot. Yeah, he's not an idiot racist. That's right.
Good on you, Timmy.
Yeah, that's right.
His heart's in the right spot, that Timmy.
Yeah,
give him a fucking beer. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Rate us on your favorite podcast app and follow us as well. We're on Facebook and Twitter. And thanks for listening. And thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That was fun,
Next
John.
week.
Later.
Hey, yeah, thanks.
Stop 'em.